Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone to Tuesday, July 5th. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, come up to the microphone, give us your name and address, and state your business, please. Of the roll call, please.
Cedar.
Here.
Foley.
Here.
Kinspotter.
Here.
Kleeman.
Here.
Puffa.
Here.
Laporte.
Here.
McCartney.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're going to make a couple changes to the agenda. Number 1, under 7, we're going to put B. We're going to ask for this body to ask administration to draft an ordinance letter of support to the Sheriff's Drug Task Force millage request. That's B. And then under 8, new business A, we're going to pull A. Take that off your agenda, the G2 Consulting Group. All right. We'll go to consent agenda A. The City Council minutes of June 20th, 2016. Recommendation approved.
So moved. Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go to 5A. This is an ordinance introduction. 2016-10, Chapter 10, Animals, Pets, Limits.
Your Honor, Dave Shorkey is here tonight to talk a little bit about the ordinance introduction.
Good evening. We had complaints from a couple different areas of the city where there were multiple dogs were the case in both of these, where there were, in one situation, we had a hard time documenting exactly how many. The county had been out there a couple times. It was somewhere at least 5 and upwards to 12. We had another one where there was a breeder that had about 9 German Shepherds. So what I did was I looked, and there wasn't an ordinance on the number of pets. So I researched and looked at other communities in St. Clair County, Algonac, Marine City, Kimball Township. They have a limit on the number of pets that you can have in your home. 3 was the number that those communities used, and that's a combination of both dogs and cats. That's what we've proposed in here. It just seems that in most cases, no one would have more pets than that, and then when there is, that's when the problems seem to start with the, as far as maintaining the property that the animals are housed in.
Now, how does this affect somebody that already has 4 pets? They're going to have to get rid of one, or?
Well, I think, I don't know. We really haven't discussed that part of it. And when this takes effect, it's, are these ordinances, is anything grandfathered in? Is it?
I think we'd have to grandfather that in.
Well, I think our attorney would advise us on that.
Yeah.
I know that there was a house down on South Riverside. I don't remember the woman that lived there. They had cats. It was dumb.
That was another one that even, there was one residence where they had passed away, but the cats had taken over the house. Even the resident had passed away, they had to have the hazmat on to go into the house and remove them. And we received complaints about odor coming from that home since then.
Your Honor, I could support an ordinance like this, but I would have to either seek advice from council or put an addendum in there that states that we'd have to have a grandfather clause, and that if a pet was lost, then that household couldn't have more than 3. But I mean, I am not going to sit up here and ask someone to put down a pet because we want to have 3 in a household. Support something going forward, but I'd rather see some language in there that protects someone that has 3 dogs and a cat.
I agree.
Then you say, David, checked with some other communities in 3.
Yeah, that's,
the number?
I have copies of them. There's Algonac, Marine City, Kimball Township, all have a limit of 3, and that includes both cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
If you do that, though, I think that one thing that you should pay attention to also, though, is that homes that are currently in excess of that we know of, you know, if they have 4 or 5 pets, I don't know who does the census on the pets, but who's going to know when one dies and another one comes in the house and they continually have that number?
Well, if they're following the law, they're getting a license.
Well, that was part of it also, because the county came down and checked that one particular house out, and they said, well, there were 5 dogs, but we made sure they licensed them all. And my question was, is the county had an ordinance that had a limit of 4, so the enforcement part of it is tricky with animals, but you know, we have to have something, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I agree, but I would feel
Oh, I
much
understand
better with an
your
addendum.
situation.
I think it should be referred back to administration and ask for the attorney's input.
I agree with Member Laporte. I think Mr. Downey needs to take a look at this and give us some insight.
So I got a quick question for you, Mr. Shorkey.
Sure.
You said the county has a limit of 4?
Correct.
So how does that, so would we override county with 3?
Well, that's you know, that encompasses every township and city. But in this one situation, they didn't enforce their own rule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're going to, this is just a way, I think, that for the communities, and I think that it's evident by what the other communities have done, that to get some protection for themselves also.
Other than the quantity of animals in a household, have we had vicious animals?
No, we really, and our ordinance kind of covers vicious dogs, and that you have to clean up after them, and they need to be on leashes or tethered, and we haven't had any issue with that anyways.
Just so council knows, this document was given to us by Jim Downey. So he has looked at it, but we'll go back to him with it and ask him about the grandfathering, how maybe we can put the thing in place.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Okay,
Yeah,
very good.
Mr. Shirk, are you going to be here for the rest of the meeting?
I can be.
Well, I had some questions for him on some of the reports I saw, and I don't know if this is the time to ask, or should I ask later on?
Well, when we get to reports of administration, we can bring back them up, which
Okay.
we're going to get to next, so.
Okay.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, so we'll send that back and ask Mr. Dunn about the grandfathering then. All right, thank you. Let's go to number 6, reports of administration, Mr. Booth.
Your Honor, I have 2 items. First of all, please remember trash pickup is pushed back 1 day this week as a result of the holiday on this past Monday. Also, waste management, if you don't have it already, you will be receiving something from them starting next week. They're going to have all trash pickup in the city on Thursday. So it won't be Wednesday and Thursday, it'll just be Thursday. So I guess for those folks that forget on Wednesday, don't take it back in, they'll be there on Thursday. And again, that's next week, not this week. Second item, just wanted to inform council that a letter indicating the city's support of the St. Clair Ann's redevelopment project was sent last Friday. The letter was sent to the Michigan DEQ in support of the inn's request for a grant and loan. That's just informational. And that's all I have, Your Honor.
I have a question regarding the garbage pickup
Yes.
schedule changes. They give a reason why they're going on just 1 day?
I think they had,
Scheduling.
they had room in their schedule, and they asked if it would be an issue if they put it all in 1 day, and instead of coming in 2 days. I guess it was better utilization of their equipment, and to have it all in 1 day, so when residents call in and ask when their pickup is, Bill and I met with them, didn't seem to be an issue, so. Closer to the weekend, I guess it'll get your trash out of your house as well. Won't be sitting around over the weekend, so.
Anybody else? City attorney's not here tonight. Any city departments? Dave, do you want to come back up and ask them some questions? You want to ask about the...
Yeah, in our council packet, there's a report, which is a very detailed report, thank you very much. But I noticed that there's a few of these that are listed that in the month of June, you had to go back a second time. What happens, and as an example, 649 Glen Eagles, contractor sign, on June 7th, and then again on June 27th, 20 days later, you went back. Was there a citation?
I don't have that in front of me. It's,
649 Glen Eagles. The violation.
were they
was-
opened, or is it opened and then closed? Is it under, are they both open?
Closed.
Open and closed.
Ah, okay.
See, we'll get some that had lingered out there that'll be closed in this month. Other ones may open and
I
close in
didn't
the same
follow
month.
the close dates.
Okay,
That was
yeah,
my
I think when it
question.
goes to
Thank
2
you.
pages, we lose that. It's,
Dave, as long as you're standing there, can I ask you one?
sure,
Corner 3rd and Vine, the old show. You
correct.
come up 3rd Street North, and you stop at Vine and look down towards the east.
Mm-hmm.
Those bushes are, you can't, I've had a couple people ask me.
There was, a letter was sent out, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday of last week to the owner of that property there that they have to trim the bushes. We give them 7 days to do it.
And the hole he has in there that's surrounded by that fence, that's been there a couple weeks.
I didn't notice that.
Was
And
that
the
from the
northeast,
pipeline?
northwest, what?
Was that from the gas? the ga-
That's what I thought, that was from the,
No, it's from a sprinkler head.
Oh,
That hole's been covered with that little fence a
Okay.
couple weeks now.
well, you'll see it on your report where he gives a notice
Right.
on that also.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
That it?
Yep.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, we'll go to D, authorities, boards, commissions, committee chairs, council reps, anybody? All right, we'll go to number 7. We have 2 items under 7A, Eversharp Tools Incorporated Land Interest St. Clair Industrial Park. We have before us a proposal. Mr. Casey is here, Mr. Booth has some information, we can entertain this at this time.
Okay, I'll start, I guess, and then from there handle questions. Mr. Ken Nemec, representing Eversharp Tools, has provided us with information relating to his organization. He did that last time he was in, talked about the ownership, number of jobs expected, their products, future expansion, and things like that along those lines. Since his original proposal, the only change has been to the desired lot. Ken has indicated he is interested in lot number 2. If you're looking at the industrial park plot, 1 through 4 would be plots along the Range Road, so the west side of the drive that goes back in from Yankee. Again, he's looking or considering number 2. Ken has proposed 2 options for your consideration. Option 1 would be for the city to complete the needed stormwater and wetland mitigation work, of which AEW, again, Mr. Pangory was in last time, he indicated that cost would be $175,000 to $200,000. Under this option, Eversharp Tools would purchase the just over 2-acre lot for $40,000. The city, by completing the mitigation work, would then have lots 1, 3, and 4 to sell. Lot number 1 is, again, a little over 2 acres. 3 and 4 are a little over 2 acres as well. However, each one has about a ½ acre on the back end that's not buildable due to the wetland that's there. Option 2 would be for the city to give the land or donate it to Eversharp Tools. They would then take care of building their own detention on lot number 2. The city would incur no additional cost and would then collect approximately $14,000 a year in tax revenue. However, that would be slightly offset. We have a 425 agreement with the, when we brought the property on from St. Clair Township. So 2 mills on the approximately $750,000 investment would take about $1,500 from that, so about $12,500. And then that number would increase after. They're also asking for a 50% tax abatement. The number would jump up to about $20,000 a year after that came off. According to AEW, this event, if we allowed them to put their own detention on Lot 2, would not trigger any requirements requiring us to finish the stormwater wetland upgrades.
Your Honor, we're almost done with our commitment on the industrial park, right? It rolls off. We're done, what, next year?
Next year, I believe, yeah.
I'm more in favor of allowing him to have the land and do his own development where we don't incur additional costs. but I think there should be some strings, timelines, because he mentions future development. When his building's up, what happens if the business folds? Does it come back to the city, the land, the building? I don't, Dan, you get any?
Sure. Good evening, Council. Dan Casey with EDA. They're going to be clear title holders of the land if you deed them the land. So I don't know that it's appropriate for it to come back to the city. However, what you could do is put some strings in there regarding the start date for their project to make sure that they go forward with construction. In whatever time frame seems reasonable for them and as well as for the city. So it would be, I think, reasonable for construction to begin no later than this fall. But I would offer that to them as a term, see what their response is.
I haven't heard anybody else say anything.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of the timeline. He wants to be open. If we move as he wants, open by March 1st, 2017, we could give him a couple of months past that or something. We can get to that, but I have a question is for anybody that can answer this. He wants lot 2, that would leave lot 1 obviously vacant. Does it more advantageous to the city to say selling 1 that we keep so that we can keep 2 contingent or contiguous to 3 and 4 if somebody else came along that wanted to get land that was connected? Are we landlocking lot 1?
Did the Pangori, did he mention that at all when he did his review, or?
I believe it wasn't an issue for him.
No.
I don't.
And I'm just asking a question that, as I look at this map,
Lot 1 that's the one that's adjacent to the 5-acre piece on the corner.
yeah.
That's correct.
You always have the option of someone purchasing that lot. So
Separate.
expanding the size
Right.
of lot 1. So I mean, that's one option.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're, based on the number of acres of lot 1, I don't recall off the top of my head what it is, but, you're probably looking at another building in the size of 5,000 to 10,000 square feet.
In his letter, Bill, he says we want to open March Phase 2 in 2 to 4 years would include 8,000 to 14,000 square foot addition. So whether he could do that on the same lot or one next to
Or
it or
one.
not.
He thought he could do it on the same one.
Is he asking for the abatement? Is that all part of this, or is that a whole separate process?
It's a separate process, but he is including it as part of, it's in his letter to us. He's indicating he's going to ask for it.
He wanted, what, 50% for 6 years?
12 years, I believe.
12?
Yes. Yes.
Dan, regardless if we agree to whatever, lot 2 or whatever tonight, the abatement will be a different issue.
Correct.
I mean, if we
Well,
go-
I mean, the city has to be careful if you're going to make a commitment to him for free land, you're going to have a development agreement, and that would be probably something you'd address in the development agreement. However, it's a separate legal process that has to come before the city.
So what you're saying, if we agreed to it, it would come back to us?
Yes.
Or could we take it out?
I don't think you'd get the deal if you took it out.
No, take it out of this proposal, and let him come back and ask for it after.
He has to come back for it, ask for it separately, you just said, right?
Yeah, the next step after this is a purchase agreement, and you also could include a development agreement in there. Or you can also deal with this from another perspective. You could offer him a letter of terms.
Yeah. Dan, I have 2 things in front of me. I have this letter, and I also have the proposal. The proposal doesn't even mention the abatement, so I guess we're just dealing with the proposal tonight.
Correct.
Right.
And that's just basically, we're dealing with the retention
Right.
and the cost of land.
And the cost of land.
So,
I will say that I reviewed a past project that did not get built on the site from 2006, and it was almost an identical offer. The scale of the project was much bigger, but it was basically the same terms.
Dan, one question. Do you represent any other parties that offer free land in St. Clair County?
The city of Port Huron.
City of Port Huron, where would that land be?
In their industrial park, they have an 8-acre piece of property and they have a 22-acre piece of property. They're across the street from each other. And they have some additional land that they own that's in the vicinity of the 22-acre piece that potentially could be made free for a project.
And that's it?
That's it. However, there are other communities that we compete against that offer free land as well. Municipally owned properties. I would not say that it's common, but there is competition. Adrian is one example of a project that we looked at for the St. Clair Industrial Park where we were competing with free land in Adrian. It was about a 100-acre site.
I mean, I think, speaking from St. Clair's side, I think I remember how when we came up with the free land, it was based on, I think, a certain square footage and a certain amount of people that would be employed and, for, a pretty viable company. And I don't think the purpose was to get, 10, 12 people companies moving into town and giving land away to whoever wanted to put up a building. And, I guess I'd be more open to, maybe countering the free land and, talking about some sort of retribution or, I'd be more open to that, but I'd also be open to the fact that the free land thing is out there, right? So I don't think I can fault the man for digging it up and coming to us for it, but I guess I'd like to say in the future, maybe we could put some sort of basis of getting free land, like the amount of square footage, the amount of jobs created, and so I think that's why we did it originally. It wasn't to give small businesses.
If I remember right, that was tied with grant money that
Yeah.
for so many jobs, part of the
Right.
was forgiven.
Right. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is maybe we need to look at that whole thing again, right? Because
After
we're
this.
not paying the grant off anymore.
Yeah.
We're paying the mortgage off, so. And, I mean, I can certainly go with the majority here tonight. I don't want to hold the man up from starting his company, but I guess if it was me, I would maybe counter with 20 grand cash and for the lot and, put your own wetlands in. I mean, if it were me, but I think that might be too late.
I got a question. In his letter, he says that these machine operators gonna make $62,000 a year. So that tells me he's bringing $30 an hour jobs in town?
Yes, that's what he claims.
Yeah. Yeah, that's reasonable.
$30 an hour?
Well, I'm in favor of the free land thing because it doesn't add to our debt. We're finally coming out of it. But I'd make the motion to approve the
I would second that.
You're making the motion to approve which proposal?
free land.
The free land that he puts in his own
Right,
retention
but I'd
pond?
like to see some strings on the timeline.
Yeah.
Well, we could hold him to his proposal.
Yeah.
Right, but now, if we do this, and then he's gonna come back, well, there's gonna be official purchase or offer between us, and then that's when we'll work out the minutia of it.
Right through the purchase agreement.
Right, okay.
There's gotta be something to exchange. You can't just give something away, can you?
Well, I mean, in this case, he's offering to take on all the expense for building the detention pond in exchange for the free land. So otherwise, the city might have to come up with a sort of an integrated plan for stormwater management on this whole property.
I'm
And
saying-
eventually, you will have to do that, but at least in this case, he'll be shouldering that cost. And actually, if you compare the two costs, the stormwater detention pond, the construction of that, the engineering and the design and all that is far more expensive than giving them the land.
But when it goes to the title and the people fill in the selling price, there's gonna be a zero in the selling price.
Not necessarily. I think it's always been marketed as subject to, first of all, approval by the council, but also to job creation and a formula. So it really depends on every project. I guess the one piece of advice I could give council tonight about this project is, we've been sitting on this land for a long time, and we've come close on a few deals, but nothing's happened. So I look at this project as a loss leader that can get other projects potentially moving. So for example, we've been working with a company for about a year that's in the area that is interested in building a building in the park, but they have yet to come forward and do that. Well, what this project does is this now takes a piece of property off the table that otherwise that company might have been interested in. So I think that it might help to motivate them to come in and get serious about making an offer. Can't guarantee it, but I think that it could.
All right, thank you. So now the motion's been made by Member Laporte, sorry, and supported by Member McCartney. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I got another one. This was, obviously this was plotted at one time, so out there's survey pins.
Okay.
Is there? Or is them gotta be put in?
I'd have to confirm that for you, Bill. I've been out there, we've measured it off as far as where the property lines are.
And if there's not survey pins in there, who's picking that cost up?
I vote the purchaser.
Well, we can
Well,
put
I'm
that
just saying
in
there
the,
was at
Exactly.
one time, but the man ran the ditch through there, so they're gone.
Right. And are we talking lot 1 or lot 2?
Lot
Or
two.
whatever's
Lot 2.
better for the city?
Lot 2.
Lot 2,
Okay.
Lot 2.
Did you ever get an answer on if that's gonna landlock lot 1?
The answer was that Lot 1 was still buildable and that it will not landlock it. Anybody else? All right, the motion's been made and supported to authorize the administration to draft this proposal and work out this agreement to bring back to us for a final approval, to accept the option 2, I guess it would be. The city will incur no cost. The developer will put in the detention pond. I guess I'll ask for the roll call on this.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney.
yes,
Foley,
Yes.
Finswater,
No.
Kleeman,
No.
Cuffa,
No.
Cedar.
Yes.
4-3, but I believe Attorney Downey stated this vote needed 5 to carry. Is that correct, Mr. Booth?
Yes, I checked with Jim earlier today when he indicated he was not going to be here. And he indicated it needed to be a 5-2 vote minimum.
All right. Then we will mark that down as not passing,
Correct.
and we will move on to B. B, support to, we give support to the Sheriff's Drug Task Force millage. If you remember, the sheriff was here a couple meetings ago and did their presentation, and we would, as a council, like to draft a letter of commitment, support to their millage. Is there anybody who would want to make that motion?
I would like to make that motion,
I'll
Your
support
Honor.
it.
All right, the motion made, supporting questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go to 8, new business. B, approve appointment to Downtown Development Authority.
Your Honor, I'd make the motion to approve Susan Hool on the
Support.
Downtown Development Authority.
All right, so this is an appointment for Sue Hool for a 3-year term to expire December 31st, 2018. The motion is made, supported.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
I got a
Opposed?
question.
Question.
DDA still around? They don't have a budget? They don't, what's your function?
They serve an administrative purpose right now that we can do some things with them that, as a city, that we need their help to do. Is that vague enough?
Well, there's examples of it. The housing study for downtown, they were able to go out and secure a grant for that. They hold liquor license that we would not be able to get in the event that, an example of St. Clair Inn or another business wanted to come in town. They hold that, so even though they don't have a budget, they do serve the city of function.
They hold the actual license? How do they get them?
They've got those back, Mike, you might remember a couple of years ago when they were
It's been
available.
longer than that. I believe the city holds around 60 of them.
Yeah,
60.
60?
I don't know how.
They have access.
yeah.
Bill, they're not just sitting there. They have to be applied for.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
You You get them through so much investment
Right.
and so much over the years.
Exactly. All right, so, did we vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on, being that we already voted on that. Go to number 9, claims and accounts, June 24, 2016.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's go to public questions and comments. Anybody have anything for the good of the cause tonight? All right, then we will go to number 11. I have a couple things. Number one, I want to thank everybody and anybody that had anything to do with the fireworks last night. The police department, the DPW, the fire department, Mike Laporte and his committee. Job well done. I received a lot of compliments. Very few compliments on the selection of the national anthem, but we'll work that out. But the fireworks themselves were amazing, and the crowd control was amazing, and everything was amazing.
How were they?
Good.
Amazing.
Good and amazing. All right. The other thing I do want to mention very quickly, we're adding a new event in the city of St. Clair this year, and I'm hoping maybe the Times Herald will pick up on this for us tonight. On August 27th this year, we're going to have a 20th. I said 27th.
Checking.
August
making sure it's
20th.
attention.
Booth's finally paying attention to me. All right. August 20th, Jazz Festival. It's a Saturday. Starts at 1 o'clock, goes till 9 o'clock. Alexander Zonchek, a well-known jazz artistic director, is putting this together for us. The lineup is out there, but I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. I'm very misinformed or uninformed about jazz, but apparently the people who know jazz have seen the bill, and they tell me it's amazing, and it's going to be a free event. I think we have 5 acts that day, Rich? 5 acts.
5 acts.
And we'll have some sort of food concession court
There'll
in
be a
the mall
concession
courtyard.
Put on by the chamber.
Chamber. Yep.
Maybe we can get that in the voice too, and maybe on Channel 6.
Yeah, I'm hoping Jim Black will do us a nice little justice on the August 20th Jazz Festival. All right. August 27th is the lighted boat parade this year. That's what it is. That's what I got messed up. Just a little plug for that. Thank you, Ms. Bode.
Classic car show, right?
All right. Anybody else?
This weekend?
Oh, is it the classic car show this weekend?
Is that this weekend? This Saturday, right? Yeah, this Saturday. Yep.
July 9th?
July 9th, that's right.
July
How
9th.
can that be
River
already?
Classic Car Show.
That's a great event.
That it is.
That is amazing.
That's
Amazing.
nice.
Great job.
That's this coming Saturday.
Yes.
All right, a lot of good stuff happened, everybody. Anybody else? All right, and we're going to go to number 12. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into closed session to discuss the strategy connect with the negotiations on a collective bargaining agreement with employees represented by the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, known as ASME, and employees represented by the Police Officers Labor Council, known as
I would
POLC.
support that motion, or make that motion, Your Honor.
I'll support.
All right, the motion made, support questions. Call the roll, please.
McCartney?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Peppa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
We may take action on some of these items when we return, so you're more than welcome to stay here and enjoy the cool air and try to figure out what dates I gave you for things that were right and wrong.